Hey there, everyone. Welcome to the Work Life Eubiosis. This week, I was a little bit strapped for time, and I thought I would be doing an episode on broken records. And before I knew it, I was going down the wormhole of the history of records and albums and where it came from. And in my research, I was able to find some interesting facts about the world's first recordings and the birth of technology. And today's episode will connect the history of our media to the media that we have to face today. So after this break, I'll be back to dive right into it. You are listening to the Work Life Eubiosis podcast with your host, Charleston Edwards. If this is your first time here, welcome. My goal is simple: to bring harmony and balance to this world, starting with the family. There is so much more to life than the 9 to 5, and this show is designed to bring you inspiration, motivation, and practical solutions to bring balance and joy back to your life. Work-life balance is not a myth, it's a choice. Themes on this show range widely between faith, family rhythms, work, and lifestyle philosophies. You will also hear burning ladder essays submitted by our community of friends and listeners who ditched the rat race, beat burnout to pursue a more balanced and purposeful life. My hope is that this show and the stories shared will provide encouragement, motivation, and will provide some ideas that will be valuable to you on your journey to work-life freedom. So let's dive into today's episode. Thomas Edison had many light bulb moments, and it was his improvement and eventual patent of the phonograph that birthed the music, film, and communications industry. Edison's first recording was "Mary Had a Little Lamb." With that first recording, media was born. However, before Edison, there was Edward Leon Scott de Martinville. Scott was a stenographer who was fascinated with registering sound waves and vibrations on paper. Scott realized that this combination of science and mathematics could help preserve history. So he designed a machine that modeled the human ear. But his intent was never to play back and redistribute the sound. His goal was to preserve sound in the full integrity of the original recording on paper. He quoted, "Will one be able to preserve for the future generation some features of the diction of one of those eminent actors, those grand artists who die without leaving behind them the faintest trace of their genius?" It's mind-blowing that someone's entire life's work was about drawing sound. Because of Scott's passion, his stylus and membrane were engineered to capture sound for history, but became a tool for many other inventors, like Edison, to have a voice for the future. With this ability to preserve sound, technology started to take off. Early records in the late 1800s could only hold about 2 minutes. Today, we can get any song, movie, or information we want in less than 2 seconds by asking Google, Alexa, or Siri. The future is in our hands, literally and figuratively. It's how you are reading and hearing this message right now. But the future is the decision of what we put our focus on. The future is in our hands because of the curiosity and passion of Edward Leon Scott. Recording, playback, and advancements in communication can all be pointed back to one person's passion for protecting the integrity of history. Did Scott know drawing sound would lead to countless number of billionaire industries to maximize the ability for people to consume media? Did Scott realize that his inventions would change the world, how we engage with work, and how we would seek and make entertainment? Did Scott know that humanity would become addicted to the luxuries of our devices? Would Scott have drawn some lines in the sand if he knew the corruption that could happen and what technology would do to destroy the mental health of our kids? Scott's recording machine birthed society's ability to not only make records, but to break records. Today, we are all breaking records at breakneck speed because of humans' natural inclination for advancement. Innovation has always been part of humanity and always will be on this side of heaven. So what gives? What's good for us can become bad when we overindulge. Technology creates conflicting duality of so much pleasure because advancement can make our jobs easier and quicker. It can help when we need to entertain the kids. Technology helps us to fight and defend our country. The list goes on and on. However, when technology is not being used as a tool, it's being used as a numbing device. Overusing and digesting corrupted content can negatively impact our addictions, mental health, and physical health. We get lured into all the bells and whistles that blind us to the values of life and the power of human connection. Our choice of technology can be either a tool for healing or it can be a tool for doom. For this reason, I am leaving this thought right there because everyone has their own purpose, records to play and records to break. I am the first to raise my hand as I'm grateful for the day and age that we live in. We have it easier today than our forefathers and ancestors did. And I applaud those who sacrifice that we may have this privilege that technology brings. It's because of Scott and Edison that we can communicate the way that we do right now. So the argument is not about whether technology is good or bad. It's about how we use it. At the foundation of this conundrum is our ability to filter the good from the bad. Fred Rogers experienced this conundrum of the good and evil that comes with media. So he took matters into his own hand. He dedicated his life, his entire life, to combat corrupt television content for kids and to show children how to be human. At the heart of our conundrums is the ability to balance, aka eubiosis. To have balance, a line must be drawn. Something must be compromised. This line protects us physically and emotionally from our devices. Our values are the most important thing about us, and it's an individual responsibility to find ways to defend and protect our values. Let's connect the dots. Dot number 1. If I've said it once and I'll say it again, let's get our priorities straight. I often feel like I'm saying the same thing over and over and over again. My wife reminds me of my broken record almost daily when she says, "Here we go again." My broken records are with my opinions about the rat race, whose entire goal is to break records. Stressful striving is deadly. My mission is to help those who are dying in the rat race to find a simpler and slower and less stressful way of life. To find where the lights come back on again with that fire and to help them get their joy back without the toxic pace. The rat race, by definition, is a way of life in which people are caught up in a fiercely competitive struggle for advancement. The rat race tells us that we must break records or the sky is going to fall. This is the definition of being caught up, and this is where we have to be careful. As we race professionally in a culture that promotes this mindset, we must draw lines in the sand to protect our health, families, faith, and community. Dot number 2. The primary fuel of the rat race is technology. And that's why I'm connecting these amazing inventors of the 1800s to the day and age that we are in today. Our technology helps our efficiency and the ability to work and to communicate quickly. But we must draw a line because there's a dangerous cliff ahead of us if our devices become our idols. We have to be careful not to be recreating the Tower of Babel. Dot number 3, from the will to the light bulb. From the first recording of Mary Had a Little Lamb to our new Marys called Alexa and Siri. We are faster than lightning as humanity. We are getting even faster with AI listening and acting on our behalf. Though artificial intelligence has its benefits for a large number of industries, it has its dangers, especially without boundaries, and especially without acknowledgement that we can never replace God. Which leads me to dot number 4. Folks, we are still human. That means we will never be perfect. And as humans, we need each other. And the moment we start using AI to connect with each other, we've missed the entire point. We've entirely missed the true human connection. The power of human connection will always dominate artificial connection. And if Mr. Rogers was with us right now, he would punctuate this statement with, "Won't you be my neighbor?" So we've gone from drawing sound to drawing lines in the sand, and now it's time to draw some conclusions. Technology is not bad, but how we use it can be toxic. If you're in a work environment that highly depends on technology, then you're probably aware that boundaries are a good thing to adopt. Sometimes boundaries aren't enough and you have to drop everything. Maybe you are tired of the rat race, or perhaps you're tired of the breakneck speeds. Maybe you're tired of the constant pings of your devices and being on the devices all day long. Maybe it's time to quit the rat race. And no, quitting the rat race does not mean quitting your job. Quitting the rat race starts with adopting a new mindset about life. It's about a different type of ambition that starts on the inside by examining your purpose. It is about adopting new boundaries. It's adopting a different mindset that breaking records must take a back seat to what you value most in life. We have a lot to juggle as adults, and I get that. Technology makes it easier to juggle more and to carry more. But we must balance and embrace the seasons to slow down, to smile and converse with our loved ones and strangers, to go for walks, and to recharge appropriately to perform well. This is the model to break records, not to break ourselves. We all have a choice on the pace we set, the choice to filter the good and the bad. As humans, we have the gift of prudence. We can examine, reflect, and forecast our own steps, and then let God handle the rest. No other creature on earth has been given a brain, soul, and heart like humans to think, examine, and change course. Not even AI and all of our technology can do what a human can do. However, we live in a tech-centered world. It's increasingly hard to ignore our media and the watchful eye of AI. It's even harder to work without distractions. So let me give you a few tips. As you go through the rest of this day and this upcoming week, here are some questions to reflect on that may help in building some boundaries. What media outlets trigger me, makes me anxious, or brings me joy? Is what I'm consuming actually real, or could this be a construct of artificial intelligence? Has my family discussed our relationships with devices? Do we need additional boundaries? Am I screening all the content that my kids have access to? Where can I be more intentional today with my time to make human connection? In a meeting, in a correspondence, or at home? And finally, what tiny step can I take today to unplug during my daily rhythm so that I can show up better for those who need me the most? Your health matters, your time matters, your family matters, your faith matters. The time to rest matters. And yes, your work matters too. But your approach matters more. Thank you for listening to the Work Life U by OSIS podcast, part of the Work Life resources created by Own Your 5 to 9. I hope that you have found encouragement and a few ideas to strengthen your journey to purpose, freedom, and balance. Have you overcome burnout and found a new way of life? Millions around the globe are still at the risk of burnout and losing it all, and your story may be the one that sparks not only a dream, but action. Visit ownyour5to9.com for more information and to submit your story. While you're there, join the Work Life U by OSIS newsletter and receive additional resources weekly right to your inbox. If you enjoy this podcast, take time to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Share it with a friend or a loved one. Remember, the most important organization in the world is the family. Let's do our part to strengthen it. Thank you for listening.